Welcome to the Voter Interest Project's candidate interviews for 2023. I'm Alan McPheeters, the Executive Director of the Voter Interests Project. Our mission is to provide voters with the information they need to make informed decisions about government, candidates, and ballot measures. Our focus is local. We cover Island County, its cities and towns, and various special districts, as well as the representatives from the 10th Legislative District. The 2023 elections are local and nonpartisan. We are covering 44 elective offices on this year's ballot, including mayors, city councilors, school board directors, and commissioners for hospital, port, fire, parks, and cemetery districts. 67 candidates filed for these offices during filing week in May, and we've invited all of them to do interviews for you. We also have extensive coverage of these elections and the actions of these government agencies on our website, voterinterests.com. The following interview is with Barbara Arms, a candidate for City Council Position 2 in Oak Harbor. This interview was recorded on June 19th, 2023. We provided a list of potential questions to the candidate in advance of the interview. Okay, and we are here on the evening of June 19th with Barbara Arms, who is a candidate for Position 2 on the Oak Harbor City Council. Position 4. Thank you. I got that wrong, and it's wrong on my slide. I'll have to fix that before we do the outro. Position 4. That's right. Position 2 is the other one that's open. Okay. Well, thank you for correcting me, and welcome to the Voter Interest Project. Let's just start out with a few just quick short answer kind of things, biographical stuff, so people get an idea of who you are. Barbara, are you married or single?
I'm married.
Okay. Do you have children?
No.
No. Did you grow up on Whidbey or did you migrate here?
I migrated here.
Okay. And if I remember right, is it you or your husband or both of you that served in the Navy?
My husband is retired Reserve Army.
Army. Okay. And then is that what brought you to Whidbey Island?
Yes, part of it. Also, my husband proposed at Fort Casey.
Oh, nice.
So we have a firm connection, and we finally got an opportunity to move here.
Oh, great. Very good. Before you moved here, well, I'm assuming, this might be not fair, that you're retired.
Yes.
Okay. So what did you do professionally before you retired?
I was a licensed practical nurse for 30 plus years.
Wow. Very good. What are the biggest challenges for being a licensed practical nurse? What is the thing you had to overcome all the time?
Well, I worked in an Alzheimer's dementia unit. So it's hard to make them understand things that you want them to do.
Sure.
And so it's sometimes being not the nurse. They think you're a relative or a family member. So you have to go along to get them to be the best care. Plus you have to supervise the nursing assistants, and you have to make them feel like every piece of information you have is important, because it is. Because you don't know what piece of information that might be vital to the resident's care.
Very good. That sounds like a very challenging task.
Yeah, well, you have to multitask, because you can't do one thing. Because in the middle of one thing, somebody falls down, something happens, you've got to stop, and you've got to process all that. Then you have to go back to where you were.
Sure. Interesting. What kind of, I know a little bit, but for the benefit of our audience, what is your political experience and what kind of community involvement have you been involved in?
My political experience since I've been here January 2018 is sign waving for candidates, being part of the candidates team. I was the volunteer office manager for the Legislative 10 District office when we had Ron Mazzell, Greg Gilday, and Bill Brock. So I managed that. I was full-time, no pay, which was fine. I learned. I then I worked on 3 or 4 other campaigns, doorbelling. I'm an elected precinct committee officer, so I had to go out and work that because I had another opponent. got to know the neighborhood. That is really where my expertise is. I know the legislative issues. I worked on 6 pages of them this last year. I pretty much know Ramazal, Dave Paul, I know all of that. As far as community, I have been attending since 2022, I have been attending all the council meetings and the workshops. I've hardly missed a one, and I'm now doing the Parks Board and two. So that allows me to meet the people in the office who actually make decisions. I'm able to talk to the infrastructure people, the operation manager, the economic development. I have a working relationship with Margaret, who's the head of the merchants in downtown Oak Harbor. I am also usually there on Monday because I have a friend that works at the gallery. And so I'm really aware of the community because I live right in the community. So that's where I'm at.
Very good. Good. Okay. Well, then let's move on to some other kinds of things. I have my notes here, but they're the notes for the wrong interview. So bear with me a second. I want to get to. I had sent, just for the benefit of the audience, I'd sent Barbara a list of some things that we were going to talk about, and here we go. Okay, perfect. So, Oak Harbor City Government, about 180 people. What kinds of experience do you have working at the decision-making levels of an organization of that size or larger?
Maybe not that size, but when I was a licensed practical nurse, you are the decision maker. It is your job. You're the supervisor. You have to work with the social workers. You have to work with the doctors. You have to work with the families. You have to work with the patients. So when you're dealing with 30 to 60 residents, it's a lot. And then in my younger years, I did work at the federal government, and I was the travel person. So when people moved, I was responsible. I worked at the shipyard at Bremerton. I did all the invoices. I worked at NOAA. I worked at the EPA. So I'm really aware about a lot of organizations. And I have now, since I've been in Oak Harbor, I've made it a point to get to know the people that are making decisions. Blaine Osborne, city administrator, infrastructure. If I have a question, then I'll go to those people, ask them, present ideas, what we can or cannot do, why we can't do it, the challenges. I've made it my personal entourage to know them. They know me because, here she comes again. Here we are again. So I know them, and I've listened to counsel, and like I said, there's things I need to learn, but I'm willing to learn. I'm very inquisitive. So if I don't I'm working on a project now, and it's a challenging project, and I'm not going to divulge what it is, but I am working on it, and I keep pushing forward with it. Say, okay, why can't we do this? What's the holdup? So that's the kind of thing that I do.
Okay, very good. So one of the things that you'll have to be involved in, one of the biggest responsibilities of the city council, is to review and approve a biennial budget. Do you have any experience working with budgets for organizations?
Not per se, but you have to remember, when I'm a licensed practical nurse, I have to be very aware of what status the residents are, whether they're Medicare, Medicaid, private. You just can't go ahead and do something and somebody goes, oops, we can't pay for that. So you have to be aware of that. And I have sat and listened to them present the budget in City Hall and seen what they made decisions, how they made it, or if they brought it back to them and said, no, we're not going to do this, why we're not going to do this. So I'm very aware of what's been going on, because I do get the agenda.
Okay, very good. What do you see as the biggest challenge that the city has right now?
Jobs.
Jobs. Okay.
Yes, we need, I know everybody talks about housing, but one of the problem is if you don't have jobs, you're not going to be able to fill up the coffers to do the things that we need to do.
Okay.
And we need to put more jobs, better paying jobs. We don't have enough restaurants. We have to make use of our main street because that, you know, people do too much off island. We need to really train, promote, and put that business because we have a lot of things that we have to get done. And one of it is my prized project is the sewer pipes, because the sewer pipes hooked into the new sewer system, but the sewer pipes, some of them are 50 years old. They're not working. They're cracked. So when all the sewer goes, they pick up all the rock and debris, and now we have a problem called we're trying to retrofit all these that need to be done. We have a map. We have to do this. I guess we just had a break in down by the post office. We can't allow things to age that far. Plus, we have a problem with the sewer system, and we need the Navy to hopefully come on board because their lagoon, their sewer system is 30 plus years old. It will fail. We need to work so that we can get them to come on board, maybe reduce cost a little bit, but we have to be working on those kind of things. They're not pretty, but they have to be done. You can't pave a road over a bad road. I mean, bad sewer. This doesn't make sense.
Right.
And, you know, we need more participation. We need more presence when people are coming on the island because people just turn right. I mean, that's all they're going to do. They're not going to go left. So there's a lot of things that I'm really interested in. There's a lot. So I'm not saying we don't need housing. We have an industrial park that we need to start working on trying to get, I guess it's a joint thing with the county. And yes, it's expensive, but you're not going to have a business want to do all that you have to put something up there for them to want them to come. You just can't say, well, here's some land and you're going to have to do all that, because you well know when you're doing planning and you're doing all that, it takes a while to get all that stuff through the cycle.
Yes.
And we need to be up and ready. And we have a marina. We haven't really taken care of our waterfront. The Parks Board is doing a good job right now. I've been sitting on there. They have great ideas. We're talking about upgrading the parks so that we can have people with disabilities of all ages. They're making a lot of progress. And so there's a lot of really great things happening, but you just have to be motivated, I guess, to get it done.
Okay. So what do you think that the city can and should do in order to attract new businesses into the heart of the city? Barbara, did I lose you? I'm going to pause the recording a little bit because I think we're hung up. We'll be back as soon as we can get this straightened out. Okay, we've picked up the recording again. I've turned off my camera. Hopefully that'll save us a little bit of bandwidth, and we'll have smoother sailing going forward. So when we kind of broke up there, we were talking about what kinds of things the city can and should do to bring more business into the city.
Well, right now we have an economic development person that we've hired who's trying to work on doing more things. We also have Main Street and the Chamber working together. We've had more concerts, more artists, more all these kind of things to attract tourism, but it also maybe gives people an idea that maybe they can start a business. Now we're having a lot of small business, and that's good. But we do have an economic development person now that is actively trying to pursue new businesses to come. And that's the whole thing is, you have to have the infrastructure. And there's a lot of moving parts to getting this all done. So it's not one size fits all.
Sure. Let me come at this from a different angle. When I used to be the chair of the Island County Republican Party, and when I got elected, I had a particular benchmark that I told the precinct committee officers, this is how I should be measured in office, whether we make progress in this department or not. Is there a benchmark that you would use for, to say, after my first term in office, if you can judge me as successful because we will have accomplished this? What is that?
I think my thing is that I want to represent the citizens. My goal is to make sure that what they want, it's not what I exactly want. What do they want? What do they see as a priority? I want to make myself available to them and say, look, if you're not happy, then you need to reach out to me. And I think a lot of it has to do with taxes, which we don't have really any control of, and also with our sewer system. The rates are going up exponentially. And I think it's one thing they want to see us make that progress on. I think that is the one thing that they're looking at. And hopefully, if we connect with the Navy, hopefully we can draw down. We're putting new housing in. Hopefully that will help with that. But I think in some ways, I know everybody's tried, but I think in some ways they just don't feel their voice is being heard. And I want to be that voice, be the one to tell me.
I think I'm losing you again. You're kind of freezing up here.
I don't know what's going on.
That's all right. So that's the best way for me to ask this question. Let's talk about some recent topics that the city's been involved in, and maybe have some thoughts on how you might have done things a little differently. So, as you know, there's been a lot of talk about the Port of Coupeville buying the Oak Harbor Airport, and the city council had agreed to put up a couple $100,000 to help with the feasibility study for that. Now, ultimately, the port decided not to buy the airport. Do you think that was a good idea? Do you think that the port should, that some public entity should own and operate the Oak Harbor Airport?
What the council decided to do is what the council decided to do. How I would have voted about it, I might have voted different. There's some good and bad of it. Okay. And the thing is, we have so much that we need to do in the city. I just think our focus should be the city. What the council did at the time is their judgment and their call, not mine.
Sure.
And that's kind of where I want to leave it. I mean, all that belongs to them. And, but I personally, I just think we need to concentrate on our city. And I know somewhere down the line, maybe that would be a good thing. But right now, there's a lot of things we need to take care of.
Okay, fair enough. So as a member of the council, you'll be one of 7 people who are making decisions on things. And you may have, there may be some controversy about some issue. Doesn't really matter what it is for the sake of this discussion. Can you tell me about a time when you've been in a group of people trying to decide something and you were persuading them to your opinion?
Well, I kind of do that quite often.
Yeah.
I think it's when I'm out campaigning, trying to get them to see the other side. And I'm also mindful I may not be able to do that. And that's okay. You know, it's okay if we have a difference. It doesn't matter that we do. But I think I've done that enough when I've been out in the community, doorbelling, trying to get them to elect candidates, why I think they're better, why I think something's better. But I'm also willing to look at the other side. You tell me your side, I tell you mine. Let's meet in the middle and make an agreement together. Either we're going to meet somewhere, maybe we agree on 2 or 3 points, but 4 we don't. That's all that's important, and we can work on it. I think the best part is to be open, to be honest, to be truthful, have that integrity. And we may not all agree, but at the end of the day, I'm the person that will stand there and say it's okay. You know, um, there was some things that happened recently, and I just took the high road and said, well, it is what it is, and I accept it. Doesn't mean I liked it, but I accept it. That's who I am. I'm not going to storm off, get mad, or do anything else. And if the other person wins at the end of the day, then that's the way it is.
Very good. On your Facebook page, you mentioned 4 concerns, and we've talked a fair bit about the sewer system and about having more business downtown. But can you talk a little more about what you see the city needs to do as far as repaving roads and maybe with the city parks and upgrading them for people with disabilities?
Well, they're right now discussing, the park board is discussing about some of the things they're going to change at Windjammer, what they're going to do with it, how they're going to utilize the money, and they're going to upgrade the parks so they're more presentable. They're also looking at making it more appealing for people to come into Oak Harbor to realize who we are. I mean, we just got the planes washed, and now they're supposed to be painting by the Navy. There's a lot of moving parts with that, because you have the Shoreline Act.
Right.
You have to be careful down there about moving things and doing things, but they're really looking at having it so the people with disability can get closer to the water and not have to jump over the logs and all that. So they're doing a lot of things, and hoping to put more pavilions that can be rented, more things that are accessible to everybody, and looking at their opinion and how they're going to move forward with that. And we're doing a lot with the artists in the community, making sure there's more music, there's more things for people to be involved in, so they feel more of a community effort.
Very good. I was talking with another candidate, actually for a different office, a few days ago, and that question just eluded me. I had it right there. I guess maybe let's talk with this, because you have engaged with the community quite a bit. You've done some doorbelling and things like that. On the subject of public art, which has been kind of a big issue in front of the council for the past couple of years, especially the past year with the Angel of Creativity sculpture. Do you think that the council is taking the right approach with putting public art in? Do you think they've gone astray? What do you think about what's going on there?
Well, I do know that the art community has art that's available to put up, and it's already there. Now they are going to find a location, and I think they should do that. That's part of what they've done in the past. I do agree that I don't know, actually, I'm telling you, I do not know exactly what the arts do. We've had a lot of sculptures and that. Maybe working with the community more for younger people to get engaged. And they're talking about painting something downtown anyway. They're talking about that. And, I think there just seems to be more interaction between them and the community. Now, I haven't been involved. I haven't been to the meeting, so I can't really address that, what they have or haven't done. It's kind of what's always been done. So I think it's fine to have the art out. We just need to have the right pieces, and we need to figure out where it's going to go before we actually get them. That's how I think it should be, instead of waiting until after the fact and trying to figure out where we're going to put them. You know,
Very
but
good.
that's my personal opinion. I mean, everybody thinks about it differently. So,
Sure. What do people, when you're out talking to people about the city, what are they telling you?
they're very concerned about the sewer rates. They're very concerned about the taxes. They, they're, a lot of people just aren't engaged. They're worried about the sidewalks. They just feel like they're disconnected. It's not really the city's fault. The city's trying, but after a while, it's like anybody, and we know this from the experience, even in the Republican Party. You only get so many people that are interested and engaged. And all you can do is hopefully be the voice for those people that don't really want to go to the meeting or really make a comment or do anything. And so for me, it's the voice, listening to them and trying to get the things they want done or not done. So, it's kind of hard. I mean, I just sometimes feel they're not fully engaged, but I think a lot of people are just tired. They just, they see their sewer rates going up, they see their taxes going up, and they're just disheartened by that, it's hard to get people to feel like they can battle for that.
Right.
And that's me. I'm the one that wants to do those things.
Very good.
That's who I am. That's who I've always been. I see something and I don't like something away, then I try to solve the problem. It maybe not be solvable, but I try.
Very good. I think that's all I've got. I think some other question, but it's escaped me now. So I think we can probably wrap up there. But let's talk about this. So what is the best way for voters to find out more about you, what you're up to, what you're doing? Is it, do you have a website, Facebook page?
I do. Well, it's kind of hard to say. Yes, I do have a what I call political page, and it's on my other email. If you go into like Facebook, you go into group, and you'll see I'm in the group, Barbara Arms, and I have about 21, 22 followers because I just started it.
Sure.
My email is probably out there from being a PCO elected official. I have little cards that I was passing out to everybody. Somebody's got them somewhere, I can tell you that. They're everywhere. So, if you need to get a hold of me, and my phone number is usually out there. I think everything's pretty much out there.
Okay.
And but so far, and then we're gonna make another page, I think on Thursday. Not my expertise, it takes a while, but I'm usually out there, and usually on Monday, a lot of times I'm down at the gallery and down in the city. Usually sometimes in the afternoon, I'm there. So a lot of times people can say, "Hey, can you get a hold of Barbara?" And yeah, somebody will get a hold of me. My friend works there on Monday, so a lot of times I'm down there. Or Margaret knows me, so hey, Barb, where is she?
All right. Fair enough. Well, I really appreciate your taking the time, Barbara, and good luck with your campaign. And
Thank you.
my plan with these is we're going to try to record all of the candidates for a particular race. And then when we have all of those in the can, then we'll put all of the interviews up. So right now I'm still waiting to hear back from your opponents. But once I've got them recorded, we'll put all of them up. And because you're in a race that is a contested primary, you'll be on the ballot in August. We're going to make sure that we get these up before the ballots drop in the middle of July. So
yeah. And I realize that, and I appreciate you doing this. I'm thankful that you have done this, and hopefully we'll answer some of the questions. But like I said, I'm always available. Somebody can always find me somewhere because, I am out and about a lot.
Great. All right. Thank you very much, Barbara.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, thank you for watching our interview with Oak Harbor City Council candidate Barbara Arms. And as Barbara graciously corrected me, she is running for position 4. That's the seat that Dan Evans held until recently, currently occupied by Chris Wiegenstein, who's running for position 2, which is probably why I got that mixed up. We invite you to subscribe to our newsletter, which is available in 4 local editions: Camano Island, North Whidbey, Central Whidbey, and South Whidbey. The newsletter arrives in your mailbox every Monday morning with news and events from your part of Island County. You can subscribe to our newsletter at voterinterests.com/subscribe. And look for more of these candidate issues as the interviews as the election season continues. Thank you and good night.